Yo, what is up, guys? We're back, and today we got ourselves a video by Pexto, when YouTubers destroy false accusations. Let's get. I think PewDiePie is one of the main guys in this one. So let's get right into the video.
Yahtzee accusations.
They literally said that the fact that I use Adolf Hitler and the fact that I use Nazi imagery,
Not the mustache guy.
bad enough.
To being called a grapist.
This makes me sound like a monster, and if it did happen, I would be a monster. But this isn't how it happened. What did happen was...
Here are 8 YouTubers who had to fight off false accusations. Starting with YouTube street interviewer Jimmy Zhang, who in July 2024 would be accused by cosplayer Laurel of...
I have never heard of this guy. What did he do? Does it have to do with actual assault? I don't think I could say that.
filming her and her girlfriend Anne without their consent. Despite Jimmy's reputation as one of the nicest and most respectful content creators on the platform, Laurel would accuse him of making inappropriate comments about her girlfriend's body.
A tall shorty with a fat O.
And then filming the couple despite both Laurel and Anne saying no multiple times, which he allegedly edited out. Many immediately condemned Jimmy. It's predatory, disrespectful, and downright disgusting. But on July 16th, 2024, the YouTuber...
To be fair, if they did say not to record them and you kept recording them and made those types of comments about them while they told you not to do that, it can be considered that way and it can be considered bad. Let's see what happened.
would pull out the receipts.
That's not even my type.
Tall woman with big ass. JJK.
That's his type. And plus it was a
Oh.
JJK quote. If anything, you could really say,
So he didn't say it. Somebody else said it.
hey, I was just paraphrasing a fictional quote.
But the most serious part was when Jimmy played the unedited footage for all to see.
So as long as it's nothing sexual or weird, absolutely ask away. Yeah. What's up, guys?
Where did they say no multiple times? And just how f***ed up it is.
Okay, so they claim that they said not to record them, but then he shows the unedited version where they didn't even say that.
To falsely accuse someone of doing such things that they didn't do.
Following this cold hard evidence, the public's perception immediately shifted. It takes one person lying to mess up an entire career, making Laura delete.
I mean, my man, great for him that he had the receipts for it, right? If he didn't, he'd be destroyed right now. But he had receipts. He had receipts. That's why you should always have receipts.
Her original post and turn off comments
Receipts
on all
are always
socials
great.
in a desperate attempt to mitigate backlash. But while Jimmy luckily had video proof of his innocence, the accusations are only going to get worse. Like with PewDiePie, who got accused of being a Yahtzee sympathizer on February 14th, 2017. These accusations
Oh
came
yeah,
after
I'm pretty sure that this was like one of the biggest stories on YouTube at the time. I'm pretty sure this is like one of the main reasons why the adpocalypse happened back in the day. One of the big reasons.
the king of YouTube jokingly paid 2 Indian guys to record a video with an anti-Semitic sign.
Subscribe to Keemstar.
I don't feel good.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
feel too proud of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I remember that time. That was a dark time in YouTube history, boys. Dark time indeed.
I'm not anti-Semitic or whatever it's called. Okay, so don't get the wrong idea.
But while his audience believed he meant no harm,
This game, you're not ready.
the Wall Street Journal didn't see things that way. And just 2 days later, PewDiePie would upload his first video.
Yeah, I remember this whole thing happening. Like the Wall Street Journal, literally, like right after they went hard against PewDiePie in that whole article, and I think he just completely debunked a lot of the claims that they made in the article against him. He just like went word for word, just went through all of the claims that they made to call him like N-word or the Nazi, and he just debunked most of those claims.
Addressing the allegations.
So, Wall Street Journal, a well-known, respected news outlet, posted
Was
that
respected
I,
after
during
this.
the past 6 months, have
Before
made
this.
9 videos that have anti-Semitic messaging in it. They used even me pointing my arm like this. Technically, they can use this as evidence as well, because that's what they did. I'm not joking. The Wall Street Journal did this. It's the most absurd thing I have ever heard.
Despite PewDiePie pointing out how baseless the accusations were, the media would double down on their position, prompting a second grim
He's a
video
hero.
from YouTuber
Yeah.
a week later.
May I just say that if you're gonna call someone a hero to the Nazis, you may want to double check if that's true or not. Because afterwards, you can't go, lol, just kidding. But the way the Wall Street Journal defended this was that neo-Nazi websites were supporting me.
Yeah, there's still like there's still like a joke today because of this whole thing. A lot of people still see the Wall Street Journal as a joke because of this. A lot of the younger generation, because they follow PewDiePie heavily.
fan site, which I obviously had no idea about. I don't.
Bad for your
believe it or not,
reputation
I
as
don't
a-
go to neo-Nazi websites.
As a
But
huge thing
upon
with that.
visiting the website in question, PewDiePie would discover something that would finally make the media back down for good.
It turns out the neo-Nazi website have changed their mind. Right now, they are the #1 Wall Street Journal fan site.
Ooh!
Interesting. I don't believe Wall Street Journal has made a statement condemning these websites. So they must be a Nazi supporting website now.
His point proven,
Ooh.
PewDiePie would return to his
Got
normal
him.
content creation
Hit him.
schedule.
Hit him
although
back.
The experience did leave its mark on the creator, permanently affecting his relationship with Disney and YouTube. However, as bad as PewDiePie's false accusations were, they don't compare to the gaming YouTuber, SVB, who on August 11th, 2022, would get accused by
I mean, like the PewDiePie allegations were pretty bad for him, right? And overall for like the YouTube community, because I think a lot of advertisers, right after that, there was a lot of stuff that led up to like the adpocalypse, but this was like one of the big things, and a lot of like advertisers pulled their ads from YouTube because of some of what happened to PewDiePie, right? It was that, and then there was a lot of other thing with like children and like ISIS videos and all of that too, but that as well.
Mia of being a and child predator. This came as a massive shock to Overwatch's community, as the player was known to be quite vocal about women's mistreatment.
Female gamers are consistently the target of a specific set of attacks and comments, and each of them are their own form of malicious. I want to just start by spelling out what these are and why they're so alarming.
But in complete contrast to his behavior in front of his audience, Nia's post would tell a disturbing story of SVB, singling the 16-year-old out in a team coaching session, complimenting her, and then asking for a topless photo. Shortly after Nia's post, SVB would be made aware of the accusations against him on stream.
This is crazy, guys. This is actually crazy. It's crazy. People are faking screenshots about me. What did I ever do to anyone of this kind that they would... What? There's just no way.
However, despite the YouTuber denying the allegations, people would still be convinced of his guilt.
I'm watching person after person call me disgusting, a vile animal, a pig, someone that should be extricated from the Overwatch community, a vile, a groomer. I watch my reputation be dragged through the mud, I think, would be an understatement.
The internet was about to burn SVB at the stake, but just 2 hours later...
I've actually never heard of this guy, so is he claiming that, like, so he had, like, a reputation for being, like, pro-feminist or something like that, and then did he try to do something against, like, a girl or something like that for, like, a minor or something like that? Is that, and is he saying, like, the screenshot was faked on Discord?
GG's,
I'm guessing
everyone.
that's what it is?
This was all a fake, and I am Nia. Just wanted to...
What? What?
prove how
To
easy
cancel
it is to cancel
someone?
someone and how
What a
cringe
piece
this
of
community
crap.
is. Mia would turn out to be a 14-year-old boy whose entire story
What
was
a-
nothing but an elaborate
what a
lie, quickly
douche.
changing public sentiment toward SVB.
What a terrible human being. I mean, he's like 14, so I'm not gonna. Is 14. If he was like an adult, I would be calling him like a horrible person, but that's like still a bad thing to do as a 14-year-old. Like, Jesus, dude, come on, bro.
Despite his name being ultimately cleared, the incident took a toll on SVB, and he would take a month-long break from his channel. However, while SVB's accuser confessed to lying, Quite would not get that luxury. On February 22nd, 2023, a trans man going by the name of Orion would accuse faceless YouTuber Quite of transphobia, gaslighting, and grape. These accusations
Ooh.
shook the internet, sharply conflicting with Quite's reputation as an entertaining and authentic commentator.
I asked you guys what the lower half of my body should look like. I actually decided to just make it another hoodie for some of that good old symmetry.
In his post,
I do remember this whole accusation with Quite coming out, and I think he like strongly refuted all of these
He
claims.
and Quite had an extremely toxic friendship and on and off relationship since 2017, with Quite regularly gaslighting him and ultimately graping him in the backseat of his own car. This enraged a lot of people, prompting
I didn't know how this
Quite
whole
as a rapist, with tweets like, "Isn't it ironic how the gay furry comes out as a grapist? Quite, enjoy your last few hours on this platform before you delete everything and run away from everything." However, just half a month
That
later,
didn't
Quite
happen.
would address the accusations in a 90-minute video where he was forced to reveal his face against his wishes.
Join large-scale battles
Come on.
with military vehicles. The online action game War Thunder has received a major
No, War Thunder. Let's go back to this.
This is my response to several allegations made against me, the most
So he made like a face reveal talking about it?
serious of
That's
which
kinda
being
cool.
that I sexually assaulted a former friend and ex-partner of mine named Orion in Orlando, Florida on February 18, 2018. This clip is of Orion describing the same day the assault allegedly took place in a video 4.5 years ago, where he has a very different account of how he felt about that day.
It was fun, and I distinctly remember him getting out of my car, but stopping midway and saying, "Just remember, I really care about you," and then closing the door, which made me feel really good.
Throughout the entire video, that clip is taken from a testimony given much closer to when the assault allegedly took place. The topic of sexual or romantic activity between me and Orion is not mentioned a single time.
Quite would then go on to describe what actually happened between the two, and shockingly, the abuse may have occurred the other way around. Quite and Orion were in a shopping center when Quite saw a
So he's alleging that it was a reverse, that it was the reverse that actually happened, that he was the one that was abused?
plushie
Is that
he
what
wanted
he's...
to buy for himself.
Oh my
In
god.
response, Orion said something to the effect of, "Okay, I'll let you buy it if you give me a kiss later." This was a weirdly identical mirror to a similar situation that happened over text the day before. Later that day, though, Orion and I are in the driver's seat and passenger seat of his car, respectively, when the topic of the kiss comes up again. Despite my hesitance, I did kiss Orion once. That's it. That's all we ever did. Immediately after, I was feeling weird about it. I wasn't exactly enthusiastic about the event in the first place, and I didn't want to go any further with it, so we didn't. Not
You brought
only did I never
receipts.
have sex with him, I have never had sex with anyone. Even as of recording this video, I am still a virgin.
After that massive revelation, Quite would finally address Orion's claims of intentional dead naming.
But in every message I've sent to Orion on Discord, Skype, through text, or Twitter that I can still get my hands on, all of which you can look through yourself, you will not find a single instance of me A, ever misgendering Orion at any point, or B, referring to him by a name other than Orion.
But even after clearing his name beyond a shadow of a doubt, the situation would still be really hard on Quite.
My abuser has managed to make a permanent mark on me in a way he's only gotten to do in private before, but now gets to share with the public.
In the end, Orion would only be on the receiving end of public hate for a week before deleting his account. Quite himself would take a 5-month break from his
So it was the complete opposite, is what Kuwait's saying.
channel, but
Oof, and he brought receipts.
Unlike Slazo, who was forced to abandon
Slazo.
his channel entirely. On June 10th, 2019, the commentary YouTuber's ex-girlfriend, Shy, would accuse him of being controlling and verbally and sexually abusive, shocking fans of the YouTuber's awkward but humorous on-screen persona. Shy's post would paint Slazo as an sexually demanding boyfriend who would become aggressive anytime she tried to refuse him and treat her as nothing more than an S object. With this, the Slazo hate began to pour in. Slazo is a piece of ish. Slazo is a big old grapist who has nothing to say for himself.
This is like the problem with when I have when like people bring in accusations, especially on YouTube. It's like they immediately like go towards like the hatred without letting all the information come out. It's just like you don't even know what happened. You only get one side of the accusation and you're just making complete inferences. You have no idea what actually happened. Like just wait. Is it really that hard to just wait a few days, maybe a few weeks until like all of the information comes out to make a judgment? Or do you like immediately have to rush to conclusions?
Claiming that there was a lot more to this situation and that some of Shy's statements were straight up false. This prompted Shy to double down, posting another twit longer just 2 days later where she would point out that Slazo did not deny his actions or the claims. 18 days after the accusations first came out, Slazo revealed his side of the story.
Trey says that I I got touchy-feely in a park and I was making unwanted advances while she was crying and asking me to stop. This makes me sound like a monster, and if it did happen, I would be a monster. But this isn't how it happened. What did happen was this was a very awkward but mutual situation, where she describes I moved her hands to touch me. She did that of her own volition, and she even mentions this in Discord messages from after we met up in person.
Addressing shy.
What does that say?
Her own volition, and she even mentions this in Discord.
Haha, was that good? That when I felt you a little?
Messages from after we met up in person.
Addressing shy.
Okay, receipts. You've got some receipts there.
Despite her discomfort, Slazo said,
"We went into the cinema. We had our first kiss. Our teeth hit each other's. Neither of us knew what we were doing, and I was willing to call it quits there when she pulls my hand down and says to touch her, which is a pretty long way from how she portrays it in."
Yeah, this just seems like a he said, she said type of situation. I mean, he did have like a screenshot of like one interaction, but is he gonna have like more interactions there? I mean, like, kind of just sounds like that. I'm not gonna judge either side.
In fact, she was actually the one
who
he
has
brought up the
something
entire
there.
idea.
But maybe we can have some fun in the cinema. I hope so. I hope so too. I can't wait to see you.
Of doing anything in the cinema. She also mentions later in the post that she's never been in a relationship before. This isn't the impression that I was under. I was under the impression from these screenshots here that she's had at least 2 boyfriends and 1 girlfriend before we ever met. So I'm
Okay,
not...
so she, in her twit longer, she said she's never been in a relationship before, but here with the receipts, he's like proven that 2 guys in. I was invited to a server with some people I knew before I met you all. It was awkward, so I joined because I didn't want to be rude. 2 of the guys in there, my exes. Okay, so she has 2 exes at least. Doing my assignment and just chatting. My ex randomly texted me, so she has an ex. Another one right there talks about an ex. Another one there talks about an ex.
Not sure why she would say this.
So she has had relationships in the past. That's a lie that she, in her twit longer.
Shortly after,
So one lie at
Shai would be
least.
revealed to be part of a conspiracy to remove Slazo from the commentary community.
Oh no. Look, I reckon we need to try to get it out soon. Want to make sure that he can't continue whatever makes that happen. So I'm Alex, the guy who recently got into a whole problem, was the one who set this all up.
A mission she unfortunately ultimately succeeded in when the YouTuber abandoned his channel on December 17th, 2020. However, as tragic as Slazo's situation is, it's not the worst out of all people on this list. On December 1st, 2020, YouTube commentator
Pyrocynical
Turkey Tom would post a video accusing fellow commentator Pyrocynical of knowingly a 15-year-old. These accusations came a month after Twitter user Ivory Rasmus alleged that 19-year-old Pyrocynical used to exchange NSFW messages with him back when he was 15. But with Pyrocynical's popularity and down-to-earth nature, many of his fans immediately assumed these allegations to be false. It wouldn't be until Turkey Tom's video that public opinion towards Pyrocynical would begin to rapidly decline. Man, Pyrocynical almost certainly being a at this point is so effing disappointing.
Skip.
Forcing him to address the situation on camera 18 days later.
Let me be very clear. I had absolutely no idea that he was 15. Ivory himself did not disclose to me directly that he was 15. And the evidence itself supports this too. He didn't include his age in his bio until he was 16, but I was not on Twitter between the 28th of December 2016 until the 29th of June 2017, as I was suspended. That I'm some kind of predator and was aware of his age all along. This is categorically untrue and a complete lie.
Pyro would then strengthen his case by explaining the true nature of his relationship with Ivory Rasmus.
We had some weird fantasy roleplay, but there was no sexual interest. There were no nudes exchanged. His name, his appearance, it wasn't important to me. I didn't even know what he looked like at this point. Ivory himself even struggles to explain how what I did was grooming.
How were you? I don't know. I was in a call with my friend when I like typed it out, and I typed.
To be fair, you can't really ask somebody who's groomed how they were groomed. It's not how that works.
Like, I remember I typed that and asked like, is that okay?
Despite Pyro's entire...
That's like one of the whole definitions of grooming. The person who's being groomed doesn't really know they were groomed, right?
video being the literal definition of "I've won, but at what cost," the YouTuber moved on from the incident fairly quickly. Unlike George Not Found, who never really recovered from his horrific
I remember this one.
On March 9th, 2024, Twitch streamer Katie Bugs would accuse an unnamed big content creator of sexually assaulting her.
Last year, at the beginning of summer, I was assaulted by a significantly older and popular content creator.
Yeah, this is the one where like she and George Not Found were sitting on like a couch together with a bunch of other big Twitch streamers, I think, and YouTubers. And apparently he like touched her inappropriately on their couch, but he just says they were cuddling and it got handsy, and she said he did something inappropriate without her consent. Which is like I think they were just cuddling or something like that. Let's see.
I was freshly 18 and had just graduated high school. We were at a house party when we decided to leave. It was me, my best friend, and her other friend. This other friend was romantically talking to a really big creator at the time. He was also the best friend of my soon-to-be assaulter, and we were encouraged to drink some more as they offered the bottles to us. They said they would join us in drinking and insisted on drinking games, and, already drunk, I obviously complied. Out of nowhere, I felt him slip his hand under my clothes, sitting next to me on the couch in front of...
Yeah, this is like where some of the problems come in our story, because the whole, I think the whole thing was like she just never mentioned that they were like consensually cuddling together the entire time before he ever like slipped his fingers, did anything with his hands. Like they were just like both sitting together cuddling the entire time.
Everyone.
That's where like a lot of people say
"Are you ticklish?"
she just ignored that aspect of the situation.
I stayed there for a while, hoping my stillness could make me disappear. I eventually had to stand up after many minutes for it to stop.
This content creator would turn out to be George Not Found, who would post a tweet acknowledging these allegations the same day, prompting many heated hate comments. "George Not Found is a dirty effing creep. I wish I could take these things into my own hands." But just 2 days later,
Jesus,
George
dude.
Not Found would upload a video explaining how things really went down.
The first night that I actually met Katie, I was with Dream in his hotel room, and Dream was in a group chat with 5 other people. These 5 people included Katie Bugs, her best friend, and 3 other of her friends. They had already been drinking at this party before they arrived to the hotel room, and they had also been the ones that were asking to play the drinking games. We had previously been cuddling on this couch for
That's
around an hour.
like the thing that she just never mentioned, is that they were cuddling. She's just like, it would be weird if he just stuck his hands into her shirt and they were just not doing anything at all. That would be incredibly weird, but it's like they're cuddling the entire time. And it's not like you can't just do that without somebody's consent, but it's like it's a little bit more reasonable to understand like his thought process there when they were cuddling the entire time.
But I did place my hand on her waist under her shirt. Anytime that I did this, it was met with her either smiling, laughing, play fighting with me, and there was no reason for me to believe that she was uncomfortable with it.
In response, Katie...
And like apparently like this is happening while there's other people in the room, and they probably see this entire thing happening, and they're not like freaked out. Like if somebody's over there and they're like, the way that Katie Bug explained to me, I would look at that and I would be like, that is SA happening over there. And I would be freaked out of that, and I would probably say something. But the way that he's explaining it is like they're just being playful and cuddling together. And there's multiple people in the room who probably watched this happen and didn't say anything. They would probably have said something if it was SA, right?
Allegedly sent by one of George's friends who was uncomfortable with the situation. Faced with this new
It's not great.
information, George would make another video addressing the situation a few days later.
There is a text that is claimed to be from you Yeah, I didn't send that text.
By now, Katie's story was already losing credibility, and her
Yeah, it's just breaking apart like heavily. Her entire story like broke apart heavily, and a lot of people started criticizing her after all of these like revelations started coming out when this story first came out.
would cement that.
He stuck his hand up my shirt, under my bra, and felt up, fondled, whatever you want to say. He felt up my tits.
It wouldn't make sense to leave out such a crucial detail in her initial accusation, and the internet did not miss that. Seeing that her cancellation of George Not Found was not working,
I never thought that the shirt I wore to school one spring morning would lead to a federal lawsuit. But the reaction from
Katie would
Nobody
delete
cares,
all
kid.
her accusations and vanish from the internet. But George's career still suffered, losing subscribers and even a Mr. Beast collaboration, much like M2K, who would forever be haunted by the aftermath of his awful accusations.
Not gonna lie, that dude kind of looks weird.
July 2020, Super Smash
What
Bros.
happened to him?
Player Next Ready would accuse
Ooh.
fellow player and YouTuber
And he's a Smash player.
M2K
Not a
of
great
sexually
not a
assaulting
great
another
community.
player in her sleep. This would be a massive surprise, as M2K is well respected in the Super Smash Bros. Community for his straightforward and honest nature.
I basically go through life like this, just doing what I need to, trying to be morally good.
But Next Ready's tweet would accuse him of pleasuring himself and finishing on a sleeping female gamer named Rena-chan.
Oh
Accused
my.
of such a vile act, it wouldn't take long for the M2K hate wave to take shape. M2K legit got away with so much
I don't remember any of this happening, but Jesus, that's bad.
heinous-ish in the community because people loved how quirky and neurodivergent every single one of his actions was. However, on July 4th, 2020, the YouTuber would
When you say that, it's just like let me go back to this. M2K legit got away with so much heinous shit in the same community because people loved how quirky and neurodivergent every single one of his actions. Like, you're just saying he's retarded. That's just what you're saying. You're just replacing neurodivergent with retarded. You're just doing the same thing. You're just doing the same thing here. It's the same insult. You're just insulting him. You're trying to be woke and this whole like you're trying to be like PC and all this with this term, but you're just calling him retarded. That's what you're doing.
However, on July 4th, 2020, the YouTuber would address the allegations.
There's a screenshot on Twitter that's a story that never happened regarding me orgasming on Rena-chan, and that is a complete lie. Not only did that not happen, I can't even make that happen. Or the amount of difficulty it takes is so much more than you could imagine. Pretty much like my biggest secret that I just don't like revealing, but I feel like I just have to get out of the way. I was circumcised very, very badly as an infant.
Oh my.
It's pretty much impossible. Sorry. Pretty much impossible, or extremely, and I mean extremely, difficult to feel pleasure, orgasm, or any of that stuff. And that relates.
Okay.
Sorry.
Like, there you go. That just he can't get it up. So your accusation at the ground is just broken. Like, I feel bad for him, but like he can't get it up. Your accusation is just false at that point.
Take your time. It's fine.
He could probably prove this. He could probably prove this through medical documentation, right? But I'm gonna believe him like just off of face value. But like, I shouldn't believe him off of face value. You should probably provide some sort of like evidence towards this. But I mean, like, he can't get it up. Your entire accusation breaks down at that point.
For his actions, Next Ready would apologize for not verifying the accusations before going
Exactly.
public with them and delete his original tweet. With that, M2K's innocence would be proven beyond doubt, but it was still a bittersweet victory as the player was forced to reveal an embarrassing secret.
Yeah, that sucks, man. That sucks. Yep. Well, that's gonna be it, boys. If you guys did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Have a good day.